one other thing that stood out to me, I won't even lie. Konji is divine.
Yes,
I used
Konji
to
is
feel
divine.
to show you the extent of how many people are leaving the country or want to leave the country. The poster that went out for Jackpot, PK got a message from somebody when he saw the poster, right? And they were like, bro, this Jackpot you're planning, can I join the seminar?
RE-LUMINATE 2023 edition. Hi guys!
Hi!
Welcome to this month's edition of RE-LUMINATE. As usual, I am your host, Chika. I'm sure you guys are wondering where Mercy Johnson is at this point. I don't know too. So we're going to just be going on this journey together. And probably next week's edition, Mercy will be back. I'll be back. Next month's edition. Hopefully. But with me here are...
Hi guys, my name is Daniel and I'm so excited to be here.
Hi, my name is Glory and I'm excited.
Thank you for coming around for a meet
Thank you
this
for
month.
having us.
So the theme of this month was real talk, and guys, we talked a lot.
Yes,
we
we
spoke
did.
about a lot of topics, and the first topic in the series was adulting. And bro, Daniel, can you tell us how adulting has been for you?
That bro you said. that bro you said adulting for me has been rough.
It's a lot.
Make up for
Adulting is actually a lot. So, Glory, can you take us on adulting?
So adulting, right? Which of you can remember the song that was trending all over social media last year? Adulthood is a scam. Like at the point where that song was trending, it actually felt like adulthood was a scam, right? Because at that period, I was personally going through a lot, right? In terms of work, I was even thinking to myself like day before yesterday, and I'm like 9 to 5 people are enjoying. So you now start to ask me, what work am I actually doing, right? But I like how PK started the sermon by debunking that myth, right? The fact that adulting is a new environment for everyone doesn't necessarily mean it's a scam, right? Just as if I relocate now to Canada, it's not like if I'm facing difficulty in Canada, it's not like Canada is not a good place. It's just that I'm just new to the terrain, to the environment. So PK starting the sermon by explaining how adulting is a moment where we are moving from moving to independence and freedom, right? And everything good is not so easy, right? You would face hardship at some point. And so one thing that really stood out for me in this sermon was anxiety. Anxiety is something that I deal with on a grand scale, right? For me, I just really like to be in control of things. I like to be able to determine, let's say, after once a moment where I can really say I dealt with anxiety was leaving school, right?
Wow.
And leaving school, a lot of things was running through my mind or were running through my mind in terms of what if I leave school and I don't get a job? Or what if I get a job as a biochemist? I did not want to do that. So I had so many anxiety. I wasn't sure what after school was going to hold. And now when I see myself in situations where I am facing anxiety, I'm able to apply what PK taught, right? So PK taught us that first of all, learn to be comfortable with the unknown. So I may not know what I'm going to do after school, right? But I can trust God to lead me, right? I can trust that my life is at the palm of God's hands, and that is the most important thing, right? Another thing is, even as I'm planning, I'm praying. So it's not just like, oh, Gloria, you're scribbling things that you want to achieve in life, and then you're doing it without God. So it's just like the Bible tells us, right, that a man plans his steps, right, but it's God that directs his plans.
So man did propose, God did dispose.
Yes, basically, man propose and God dispose. And so trusting God, I'm trusting God. I'm not trying to be in control. I'm not trying to be a control freak. And then as I'm planning, I'm praying. I'm saying, okay, God, this is what I want to do. What will you have me do? And it's such a humbling experience, right? Because as humans, we just want to go on and do whatever. So you having that humility to come to God and say, this is what I want to do, but what would you have me do, is something that can really help us thrive in adulting. Another thing we learned about is dealing with stress. You know, I was given a situation of when I said 9 to 5 people are really enjoying. So dealing with stress is something I also encountered, right? And with dealing with stress, mindset plays a very crucial role.
Yeah.
This is what I want to do. This is how much work I want to do, right? But when you are facing the work with like, this is already going to stress me, you would not be able to achieve much,
That's true.
right?
That's true.
So it's about working on your mindset. I want to achieve this thing. I'm going to I'm going to achieve it. It's going to take time, but we will go still run them.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's about planning,
Yeah.
writing what you want to achieve. I want to I have to send out a proposal end of business today. What are the steps I'm going to have to take to send out that proposal? Write the plan and trust God to strengthen, right? All these things is how a lot of times we want to live our life without God. You forget that, I have God in my life and it should actually count for something, right? So including God in your life. So we learned this and a lot more in the adulting series, and I would encourage you to actually check the sermon out.
Yep. Go and check the sermon out. It's packed because I think when after that sermon, a lot of people were like, "Wow, PK, you've done a great job. You've reset my mind, and it actually resets my
Yes,
mind."
actually.
See, one thing I think before that teaching I learned is that everybody's going through it.
Everybody. Oh.
People are going
A
through
lot
it.
of people.
Yes.
So I think that just helps people get into a certain space where they can now figure out what to do. Another thing, with adulting is managing finances because no more pocket money. No more pocket money. And that
Essential.
leads
I
us-
miss pocket money.
I miss it
I
too.
actually miss it.
I miss it too.
I could just collect money for existing. But now they don't give you money again. And that flows into our next teaching of the series, Sakwa. And Sakwa is just, it basically means being broke. Yeah. And that teaching was another banger. Pastor Chisom, she did an amazing job. So
Yes.
Daniel, can you give us an exposition on that?
Okay, so for Sapa, what we learned on Sapa, I'm going to just talk personally, right? And the first thing that I learned was, first off, we know as men in this society in Nigeria, everybody expects you a man to be able to do this, to this, to that.
Yeah.
Immediately
Yeah.
you stop being a boy, and then you're like, okay, you're supposed to be a man. There are expectations like, bro, you're supposed to have this amount of money, you're supposed to be able to handle your finances well, and then it's just a lot. Like it's actually a lot. But then what I was reminded of from the teaching was that um because I'm a man does not mean I don't have a father. Like no
Yes.
matter how old you get, you still have a father. You still have a heavenly father. And so you might be, maybe you might not have parents on the earth, but you remember that okay, there's a father that keeps you, and it's not just by what you do that keeps you, but it's that the fact that you have Jireh as your father that helps you. And then after that, I learned on what's the name on this thing on what not to do to be broke, the things
Yes.
to do to avoid Sakpa, basically.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think the one thing that stood out to me was before I used to think, what's the name? Somebody asks me for something, I'm to be generous, right? But I learned generosity and wisdom because the first thing that I put in my mind was, bro, you're not Father Christmas.
Yes.
You cannot
So.
answer everybody.
Yeah.
You can't answer everybody, and
Yes.
I had a hard time learning that because like people have needs,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
wanting to put yourself in their shoes it will make it difficult for you to say, oh, I can't help right now. But then when you understand that God also helps, and it's not your place to act in God's place at that
Yes.
point in time, but you can also pray for the person and also help in whatever way, but be wise
Yeah.
in your finances.
Yeah.
So it was just beautiful learning that. And before I used to be scared of checking my account statements. I will even lie, after the whole Sapa Kini, I used to be scared of checking my account statements. But after that, like now, like I can check my debits, credits. I can actually plan it. And even
Yes.
though even though well last month I won't lie, last month I messed up.
I think we all did.
But this month, let's say we're going at a very good pace. So guys, if you want to actually say bye bye to Sakpa, you need to check that teaching
Yeah.
out. You
Check
really
it.
need to check
Yeah.
that.
We keep saying check. To be honest, that's the point of it, is to remind you why you should check the teachings out. Go and listen to it. Avoid poverty. Don't let poverty sit you down
I say
on a
you.
Saturday morning. I say you.
I will kill you.
um, so the next teaching in the series was another special one. It was titled Konji. Gary, what does Konji mean?
Konji means sexual desires.
Okay, Konji means sexual desires for
Yes.
those that don't know the local. So what can you tell us about? Can
Okay, so when talking about Konji, I feel like the first thing and PK also did that, the first thing we have to establish is that these sexual desires are divine. So it's not weird.
Konji is divine.
So it's not weird that you're having sexual desires, right? It's normal. God put those desires in you, right? But Konji was more focused as to dealing with sexual temptations, and this is very paramount in this time, right? Because everywhere you look is one material or the other. I personally feel, I even must agree with me, that Netflix is becoming something else, right?
I agree.
Their contents are supposed to be, you know, that endless sign, are endless because yes,
Rated infinity.
Rated infinity.
yes, rated infinity, right? But it's very important to have these conversations about sexual desires and handling them, because the world is bringing a whole new perspective that is not what the word of God is saying. And so one thing that really stood out to me in the sermon, when as believers, we know that when we talk about managing sexual temptations, a lot of times we only talk about accountability and the role accountability plays in helping us to manage sexual desires. And it's very important, right? When you're going through sexual temptation, be accountable.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that PK spoke about setting sexual goals, right, when dealing with sexual temptations. So let me give an instance. If I'm struggling with pornography, I know what I'm struggling with is pornography. I set a goal that is smart, just like I will set a goal that is smart in other areas of my life. I set a goal that is smart to help me defeat this challenge or temptation that I'm facing. So in setting the goal, I understand what I'm facing. I know what I want to replace it with, right? And then I understand my triggers. I set boundaries, right? Because it's not just about saying I want to stop watching porn. It's not enough, right?
Actually.
You have to put in systems that will enable you stop watching pornography, right? And so after you set your goals, create boundaries and maintain those boundaries. Because the people will say, I'm not going to watch Netflix again. I'm going to use Netflix a lot because I feel like Netflix need to change their ways. And there are a lot of good content in Netflix too, but I'm talking about the ones that are not good. So it's not just about saying I'm not going to watch movies that triggers me. It's about putting systems there, right? It's about being accountable. So after saying this is my goal and putting my systems, who am I talking to when I'm falling off, right? So having conversations about it, have an accountability partner, someone you can trust is very important. Not someone that you talk to and then the person will carry your gist to the ends of the earth. So it's very important, right? Have someone that can always keep you in check. And it's not just having the person that can keep you in check. You have to also be honest and responsible, right? So I am dealing with this thing. This person is now my partner in this thing. This person wants the best for me. So I don't just always wait for the person to come and say, Gloria, how far now? How far you do this thing? You watch them. So it's also important to go to the person when you feel like I don't do amo. Just being honest and responsible about it and trusting God, right, that He has given us grace. One verse I like a lot is Ezekiel 36 verse 26, where He said He has taken out the hearts of stone and He has given us the hearts of flesh. So now we can do God's command and dictate because we have God's Spirit living on our inside. So it's very important that we trust that that Spirit is able to enable us and help us and trust in God's grace.
All right, thank you, Gary. Daniel, was there any thing that stood out for you from that
From
sermon?
the excerpt,
Yeah.
from what she just shared, when she said be humble, honest and responsible, that actually stood out to me. Not that okay, well, they come and meeting you, pay this, that.
Yeah.
And the one other thing that stood out to me, I won't even lie. Conji is divine.
Yes,
Yes,
it
I
is.
used
Conji
to
is
feel
divine.
guilty, but
It's
no
from the
more,
Lord.
no more. It's from the Lord. But
Yes,
it
it
will
is.
be will be satisfied in the places and the boundaries that God has
Yeah.
set
Yes.
concerning it. And so that's what stood
Yeah.
out to me.
So I guess the watchword in this sermon was boundaries. Yeah, know where to stop, know where to go forward. It's just setting boundaries. And I think
Yes.
some things will seem crazy to some other people. If you say you are not hugging because this is what you are struggling with, don't let anybody convince you that
Yes.
it's
Actually,
not.
Yes.
Yeah, so know where your own boundary, somebody's boundary, not
Yeah.
the
Someone
same.
said be wicked to yourself.
Be wicked to be wicked to
Yes.
yourself.
Wicked to yourself.
And so please go back to the teachings. Yeah. Go back to the teachings.
Actually, sure.
Listen to it. I think aside even the teachings, the prayer sessions from those
Yes.
teachings,
No, actually.
pray along with it. If you struggle with these things, pray along, and God will show up for you. Yeah. So the next teaching in our series was
Japa.
Japa.
Love it.
that's like and I think this month we had a lot of words that were Nigerian.
Yeah.
We had
Nigerian
topics
slang.
Nigerian slangs. Yeah, that we have to
Yes.
translate. So Japa is basically leaving the country.
Relocating.
Relocating.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say going abroad, overseas, but not everybody's crossing. People are crossing the border. So basically relocating, moving out of the country, and it's become something where some people are like, I need to go, the country is bad, and then God might have like other plans for you. So Daniel, can you share?
Okay, so for Japa, first off, like to show you the extent of how many people are leaving the country or want to leave the country, a poster that went out for Japa, PK got a message from somebody when he saw the poster, right? And they were like, bro, this Japa you're planning, can I join the seminar? I'm like, wow, I don't understand how exactly does everybody want to leave the country
Yeah.
so bad. But it's something that has actually affected me too, because I won't lie, the amount of friends I have in the country currently.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't think it reached 5. Everybody's
like
leaving.
every week there's a send
Yes,
off
so
for send for
cry session.
Please invite invite me to your side for today.
Invite
I'm
me,
going. I will
yeah.
not go with you, but invite me. I want to eat too. But actually, what we learned first off that is, although many people look at Jackpot as was an escape means, we learned basically Jackpot is not supposed to be a form of escape, right?
Yes.
Most of us are looking for jackpot. Like the point of jackpot is to find greener pastures.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
it
just
is.
okay, greener pastures. But we see from Psalm 23 what we learned from the sermon. Psalm 23 says the shepherd and the greener pastures are the same place. The shepherd leads where the greener pastures
Yeah.
are.
Yes.
So basically, if you're going to find greener pastures, the greener pastures are where the shepherd is. So if you have not felt a leading to actually go where God is leading you to, okay, say go to Canada, there's ministry for you there, go to Canada, this is where I want you to be, then there's no point going. There's actually no point going. If there's no need to leave the country, there's no specific need, they will know I have to go there. There's no need.
Yeah.
There's actually no need. And well, most of us might now feel pressured to, oh, okay, my friends have gone. Someone like me, now, if I don't have anybody here again, it's very easy for me to start saying, it's like I'll go and join my friend in Canada. It will make
Yes.
sense. But we must be confident in the fact that because we're in God's plan, where we are is where it's right
Is
for
where,
us,
yeah.
right? And one thing that PK mentioned also is that the same place people are going to for greener pastures is the same place that people are actually suffering.
Yes,
Like-
actually. Yes.
Like there's stress here, there's enjoyment here. Every single place has almost the same amount of enjoyment and suffering in the same place. So you have to know where God is leading you to. You have to know where God is keeping you. And so if somebody's going to thrive, what I've learned, if somebody's going to thrive in Canada, I can still thrive in that same way in Nigeria.
Yes.
And it has been actually personal for me, because I know there are some things I've enjoyed in this country that I know if I was abroad, I don't know if I'll be able to even do this kind of things.
Yeah.
But I
Yes.
seen favor, and that's why my heart is what's the name? It's just calm, being
yeah.
here, being here. It's just fine. So guys, if you need to get this level of peace,
Yeah.
Yes.
being where you are, knowing where the shepherd is, and knowing what to do, what not to do in Jackpot, and well, not being too eager to leave the country, please check out the teaching. it would help you. It will really, really, really help you.
It's-
And please don't go there with the mind of getting a reason to, jackpot, because I don't think you would. You will find it there. If you want to jackpot, don't just make sure you have the reasons
you
right.
might actually find a reason to jackpot there because I
Yes.
don't the entire teaching wasn't exactly saying don't jackpot.
Yes.
The teaching was to follow
God's
God.
leading.
So in some cases, Lord has said
Where
It's
the
okay.
way you're saying it,
it's okay the Lord has said run. That is prospering here doesn't mean you are going to prosper.
Yes.
no, run.
Yeah, so I think just listen,
It's
take
going to
notes
help
of the
you.
things. It will help you be more settled in whatever decision you are going to make. So if you're going for masters and you were trying to do it and you were afraid that should I go for masters? If I go there after the masters, will I settle down properly? Like all those things you would find it in God, and this message does that, excellently well.
Actually.
And to the last teaching in the series, this teaching went. This is one of those 5 week. No, we took it for more than the month actually.
Yeah,
It was
actually.
longer than it regularly is. But the
Great
last
teaching,
teaching in the series was it was Papa, Mama, Pikin, yeah. And when you hear that as a Nigerian, the first thing we all know what came to our mind when we saw that poster. I thought, are we talking about politics? That's a real topic in my opinion.
Actually,
Yes.
If we're just talking about relationship with your
Parents.
parents.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So, Gary, can you take us through the teaching?
Okay, so Mama Papa Pikin is a teaching that is focused on managing parents, right? And let me just throw this question out there. Chika, Daniel, have there been any time you felt like your parents have been, or seasons in your life, period in your life where you felt your parents were unreasonable, unrealistic, annoying?
A lot of times. A lot
It's
of
plenty.
times. Yeah.
It's just
Yes,
plenty.
and this is something that I also have personally dealt with, right? And this teaching for me it just showed me how much I've grown and how much work still needs to be done, right? PK started the teaching by explaining to us family, right? And how God's intent with family. So when we talk about marriage, we say marriage is meant to mirror the union between Christ and the church.
Yeah.
The same way, family is a societal institution that is supposed to reflect our spiritual reality.
Okay.
So if you say you honor God,
Mm.
it should show by the way you honor your parents,
Actually.
right?
Yeah.
If you say you respect God, it should show by the way you respect your parents,
Yeah.
right? And this is very important for us as believers because now it's like, is it in the English world or abroad, they even call their parent by first name. You go, imagine me going to my mommy and saying, "Oh, Oludi," there's just a
never
lot
be
of
funny.
room to be disrespectful towards your parents, right? And this teaching was just centered about correcting that, right? The very first thing that PK said that stood out to me was how you can be favored, you can get favor by honoring your parents, right? When we talk about favor, I mean, for in a part of my brain just remember favor in terms of marriage. You know how young people, I know one that just got married recently, and the guy was so hyped because he's like, my wife, you're my wife now, so you bring favor to me because the Bible says he that finds a wife finds a good thing
yeah.
and obtains favor from the Lord.
Yeah.
But even by honoring your parents, you can be favored.
Yeah.
So we see this example in Esau and Jacob, right? And then we see it in Noah and Canaan, right? When it was a story of Canaan saw his father naked and was making mockery of him, and then the father cursed the son. And we saw that the curse played out, right? And when God has given someone so much authority over you, whatever they speak to you comes to pass, right? And it just makes sense now why the previous generation had a certain level of honor and respect towards what their parents had to say, right? You would even see my personal example, my grandma is someone that is so prayerful, and my mommy never jokes with her prayer, right? And she's so prayerful that every single time she calls you, expects that she will pray for you. So when God has given someone so much authority over you, like whatever they say, either blessings or curses would happen, right? And so how do you now deal with your parents? First of all, you have to be patient with them. Like be patient with them. These people is just like me making an investment into real estate or something. I expect that when I make an investment into something, yield results.
Yeah.
And I would not want to destroy, I would not want anybody to destroy the result before it yields, right? And so it's the same thing for your parents. Your parent has put in so much effort. We just discussed that adulting is a lot. So imagine the money they have raised over the years, investing it in you, the energy, the resources, right? And then you just pop out of the blue and then you want to say, I'm going out and I want to stay there to 10, right? Like, they would not get used to it at once. So you have to be patient with them. You have to see things from their perspective. You have to know that these people they want the best from me, right? So when it seems like they are acting unrealistic or reasonable, then there's an intent behind it. So just trying to see things from their perspective is also very important. Then when you're talking to your parent, watch your tone, right? Just like you would not go to work and shout at your boss anyhow. If you cannot shout at your boss anyhow, then why are you shouting at your parents anyhow, right? So watch your tone when you're speaking to them. If maybe when they are talking, you're not having it, keep quiet. In Yoruba land, you can't walk away because walking away is rude too. So just keep quiet, listen, right? Then after the whole thing, you can always come back to them and say, okay, you said this is how it made me feel, right? Understand where they are coming from and then resolve it, right? And then in this teaching, we also learned how to be better parents, right? And for us to be better parents, one thing that really stood out to me is seek to understand instead of being understood, right?
Okay.
And that makes a whole lot of difference because if your child gets this mindset that, oh, when I speak to my mom understands what I'm saying, right? It's not about you trying to understand her. It makes the relationship a lot better. So to know other ways in which you can become better parents, you can check the podcast.
Yeah, listen to the message. We've been saying check the podcast. You guys need to go to our website. We have a website now, and
Yeah.
we have
Actually.
timely. Our sermons are there too. So, in fact, like there's so many places you can get the sermon from. You cannot be not listening to these sermons. We have YouTube, we have all the podcast platforms, and now we have the website. It's just now. It's more time will be in your phone, like.
Yeah. I look forward to that time.
Actually, me and Glory shout.
You'll be hearing me
Listen.
saying big purr.
So yeah, check the podcast, listen to these sermons.
Yeah.
That's the last sermon for the month, and it was an amazing series all together. Yeah, don't forget, please go back, listen to this thing, be blessed by them. If you have questions, send them to our mail, or you could keep them till we have
Q&A sessions, yes.
Lovely time.
Yeah.
We will answer these questions. Yeah. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe on the YouTube channel. Till next time,
Keep bearing fruits.